Hello. Excuse me. Oh my. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. It wasn't. It's forbidden love. You guys have jobs to do. You look pretty and you farm. That's the deal. Hello, guys. My name's Jerry. Welcome to my Minecraft world. Today, I wanted to show you guys around in my world, as well as talk about some stuff that's just been on my mind lately. Um, I hope to make a series out of these videos so I can take you guys along for the ride on this world, and I'll talk more about what it means to me and some specific things about it in just a moment. But anyway, hi. So I'm sure a lot of you can relate to the 2-week Minecraft phase. If you're not familiar, us Minecrafters really love to occasionally get into this game and become so obsessed that we just play it until burnout, and we lose interest, and then we don't play for several months, and then we pick the game back up, and maybe it's solo or maybe with friends on a server that someone rents or sets up on their little home server, and 2 weeks go by, and then it all happens again. This is a cycle that Minecraft players talk about and call a 2-week Minecraft phase. It happens to me too. No shocker, I'm sure. So the consequence of this for me has been that the early game of Minecraft has been something that I've experienced many times. Finding your first iron, building a starter base, getting some early game farms going, and then after that, that's usually around the time where everyone loses interest, and by the time I'm interested in playing again, I've completely restarted. And this is problematic because it means that there's lots of parts of the game that I've just never experienced. Setting up a villager trading hall prior to this world anyway, several big farms, building large projects, just doing cool stuff that you might do back in the day when you were a kid playing this game. Oh gosh, I'm almost 30. It's hard not to have your own age in mind when you're talking about these things, but things like building a really long underground minecart highway or something like that. Or just building a huge cube or doing something silly, digging out a perimeter. Those are things that I don't really get to these days because I always end up quitting and then restarting. And a more somewhat recent, maybe in the last year or two, popular thing that's been going around that caught my eye was the whole concept of a forever world. And I'm sure most of you know what it is, but the TLDR, the gist, is that your forever world is it can be a multiplayer world, but it's usually a single player one, where you vow to keep the world forever, as the name suggests. You keep the world forever, and you don't ever delete it. And when you run out of inspiration to play the game anymore, and you leave the game, and then a few months later you come back, instead of starting a new world, you pick up your forever world and keep playing. And that might mean that you continue where you left off, or if you really want to restart, you might run a few hundred or 1,000 blocks away and start over in the same world. That way, all of the things you did in that world are immortalized and you don't lose them. As well as, in my case, it would mean that if I continued where I left off, I could get further into the game and experience parts of the game, like, I don't know, a villager trading hall, that I've never done before, really. That kind of leads me to the main thing I'd like to talk about at the beginning of this video, which is perfectionism. And I'm sure that you can apply this, I know that you can apply this to many things outside of Minecraft, but in the context of Minecraft and in the context of me, it's always been with building. I made a realization that perfection was sucking the fun out of the game for me. Particularly with making pretty builds, I was spending loads of time worrying about how my builds looked and very little time enjoying the game and enjoying building them. I do very much enjoy building in Minecraft. I see it as one of my core motivations for playing the game, but my standards for my builds had inflated to the point where it was no longer fun. It wasn't about creativity or self-expression. It was as if I was grading everything I built. It was my expectations for my world had inflated so much that the idea in my head of them was almost not achievable anymore. It was no longer a smart goal, and that is why this world exists. I made this world because I wanted to give myself grace and give myself permission to build ugly things, to build things that don't need to look pretty. As you can tell, nothing I've built, at least that you can see here, is particularly aesthetic. Of course, I think that iron farm looks cool, and we can talk about this redstone contraption at some point because I think it looks awesome. But as far as like building a pretty house or anything like that, I've not done any of that on this world, and that is specifically by design. I decided that I was going to intentionally take the pressure off, and that doesn't mean that I won't ever build those things on this world. It just means that the pressure's not there. I can do what I want to do and enjoy the game and not have to worry about expectations and perfectionism to suck the fun out of the game. So that's where we are. That's this world. That's what it means to me. And this is what it looks like. This is all I've done really so far. I've done quite a bit of exploring. I do have some mods. It's not totally vanilla, but it is mostly vanilla because I would not install any mods that could not be removed so that I can always update the game to latest. I am running on 1.21.11. I do have a mini map mod or world map mod so you can see how much I've explored. But this is what I have so far. I started up in that little starter base, as you may have seen earlier, just a really simple base. This is going to be my main base. There's not much in there, but I can show you around. The main motivation for beginning this project was just to get a small storage system in. And I've been having an absolute blast playing with the new copper golems. So that's what I did. I built a very simple system where 9 boxes are sorted, and then if he doesn't find anything, he'll put them in this chest, and they end up in an overflow for me to sort manually. I plan on coming up with a cool pattern for the floors and the walls, but something simple, like I said earlier, so that I can keep the pressure off and make it easy to build. And I'm sure I'll have some other contraptions in here. I want to make some crafters for commonly used things. I want to make a brewing room. I'll have lots of things to put in here. Lots of cave builds, though, specifically because I'm not interested in dealing with exteriors right now. So most of my larger structures have been underground. I also, and this has been the majority of what I've been doing on this world so far, do have a villager trading hall. And like I talked about before, this is the first time I have ever built one in Minecraft. I've played with friends who've done it, but I've never done it myself. So far I have a few smiths and some farmers. I have a nice villager breeder over here. The carrot farm you may have seen up on the surface. I do have the free cam mod up here. Does dump down into here too, which is really nice because I can make them breed quite easily. They're actually my 2 natural villagers. These 2 came from a village, so make of that what you will. And then they hang out in here and wait for a button press where a minecart will swoop them out. And I can direct them this way either to a hall location or downstairs, which I've not used this yet, but it is ready to be used, to our friend Bonky for, oops, ow, thank you Bonky, for zombification so I can get discounts. And speaking of discounts, I have gone through the grind of acquiring the majority of the enchantments in the game through villagers. In fact, I have a spreadsheet with all the ones that I have and a list of all the ones that I needed before I had them all. And I'm only missing ones that I don't care about, like Smite and Bane of Arthropods, etc. So I do have a full librarian setup. And that is what I'm focused on right now. And the main thing I would like to do is build a specialized hall for them. I do have a melon and pumpkin farm in here, but it's not very good, and I decided I don't want to build my farms underground like this for the most part because it takes so much time to dig out the area. I'd rather just do them up on the surface like this. So I'm probably going to remove this and move it upstairs or above ground and make it better because it's pretty slow. And then this area, I'm going to be building a specific hall for my librarians where I'll organize them. You can see somewhat of my brain process here because I was experimenting with, he's got a lectern behind him. That's why his back's facing us. And I may or may not stick with that. But just messing with designs on how that's going to work. But I need to do some things before I'm able to complete that project. And one of those things is go to the nether, because I need quartz, nether quartz, and I also need blaze rods for brewing as well as just in general. For now, let's sleep and let's get to the nether. And we're not gonna go for too much crazy stuff. We just really need quartz and some blaze rods. We don't need a bunch. I'm trying to think of which direction to go. I guess I could just hop in my chest boat. That would probably be smart. That'd be a fast way to get a little bit further away. There is actually a broken portal here that I could try. I have enough obsidian, but it'd be kind of be cool just to build up this portal just for fun. Maybe I'll do that. Let's go do that. And we'll see what it looks like there. So let's finish this portal. Can you light a portal with crying obsidian now? Is that a thing? You cannot. I really feel like they should add that. That would be a cool way to decorate portals. I mean, I'll take the blocks regardless. And we finished the portal. Should be good. Nice. All right. I'm wearing gold. Relax, please. All right. Nice, it works. Okay, now I can stick this into my bundle and I'll know how to get back. Very cool. Well, as is one of the stated objectives, let's grab this quartz. I did grab a few of those frog lights. Maybe I can use those. Oh, I just want to get more, but I'll come back for them. They're not why I'm here. Okay. Oh, that was a perfect stack of nether quartz ore. Okay, that's probably plenty of that. Is that's a fortress? Hell yes. On our trip to the nether, we were able to gather a stack of nether quartz ore, plus a little more, and 11 blaze rods. Now that we're done collecting resources in the nether, I'm going to find a spot to build a mob grinder. I'll need it for XP as well as some other useful materials like gunpowder and bones. This spot should do just fine. Okay then. So I made some changes. The spiders do not ever fall down. Really. Well, actually, one literally just did. They rarely do. Most of the time when they do, they either die immediately, so I don't get to use looting on them, or they don't die, and then they just climb back up before I can kill them. So I did something really silly. So I noticed that the spiders really like to collect in these corners. And so what I did was, I made a way to get onto the roof, and all you need to do to get spider drops is pick a corner. Let me just pick one that actually has them in it right now. So like this corner over here. If you break the corner block, look, there's spiders. And then I can kill these spiders, drop down, quickly collect the loot, carefully not die to a skeleton, and then replace the blocks, and boom, there we go. So I did add that just so that I could get spider drops, although I probably have enough for a long time. I'm gonna go ahead and head back now with what I've got. See you in a minute. So now that that's done, I wanted to show a couple things I did off camera. So the entrance to my base finally has a door, which is important, I guess, so I can stand around in there without mobs coming in and killing me. I also set up this little auto smelter in my storage room. I also, more importantly, set up this little bulletin board for some goals. So these are the things I want to do in the upcoming episodes. I think the mob grinder will be good for today, so that'll be the last thing I do in this episode. But I did want to, before I go, just share the plan for what's going to come. So the next thing we're going to have to do is move that melon and pumpkin farm inside the villager trader hall up top, and I also want to improve it. I'm going to find a better design because the one that I built down there is pretty slow. And then we'll actually build the librarian hall. I'll show you guys what the design I have in mind for it is, and share what that's going to look like. And then we'll actually build it in there. And then finally, we'll have to look at my spreadsheet that I made for all the villagers and organize them and name them and do all that. And then once we're done with all of that, I'll be able to move the villagers in and we'll be done with that project. But that should be in upcoming episodes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned. If you'd like to see more, like, subscribe, do all those things. And thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.